Before we kick off this review today, we are going to be doing a guest review. We're tag teaming this. We're getting one of the band members back together from the Toxic Tour, and Fornius is going to kick off the review with his breakdown of the Conqueror V2. And if you didn't join us on the Toxic Tour, I don't even. It was so damn good. I don't even have it anymore. But it was Warlord was the pump product, and then we hit their flagship product, the Pillager, the aggressive, in your face, 2 amino alpha yo slapper, and then we hit the Conqueror, which was the DMBA hitter. And so for this review, we are jumping into Conqueror V2, and they upped the ante. Pretty much toxic masculinity took everything that was great about the Conqueror V1, and they just cranked them shits up because this thing is loaded. And so let's kick it over to Fornius, and then we'll get into my label breakdown and review on this one as well.
Hey guys, Fornius here for another review with GYMDAD Fitness, and this time I'm here to review Conqueror by Toxic Masculinity Nutrition. It's their second run, it's their second version, and they upped everything, dose of everything, especially the caffeine amount. So the experience with this is really unique. I'm gonna keep it real quick and to the point and simple as possible. It's a euphoric pre-workout. It's very euphoric. The start of the show is when you ingest a drink, 10-15 minutes in, relatively quick, this euphoric feeling, buzz, good mood, sense of well-being, they all come together and they put you in a good bubble. When you're in own space, you're unbothered, you're chill, you're feeling nice, you are very excited to go and hit the weights, and even the workout itself is really good. You have amazing focus with this one, you're locked in your training, and post-workout feeling as well is really good too, because if you have things to do after your workout, maybe it's work, maybe it's you have stuff to do, you don't want to be too stimmed up, you don't want to have this crackhead look in your eyes, you just want to go through the day. This is a great option. It's not weak by any means. I took a heaping scoop each time I ran this, and every time the results are phenomenal. I'd still put it in somewhere in beginner to mid-tier high stim pre-workouts. It's because it's not really, as I said, it's not real strong. It will not put you in survival mode. There are no drama with this one, not before, not after workout. Everything is smooth, clean, and you're gonna enjoy it. The only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit about this, that I cannot use it as often as I wanted to, because it has citrate in it, and tolerance for DMBA builds up pretty quick, and I can only use it every 10 days or so, as the Mir Morsels said. Shout out to him, by the way. Yeah, and I heard the manufacturer puts real citrate in it. It's a legit one. So alright guys, that's for my quick review. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next reviews. Bye.
GYMDAD Fitness. Today we have the review for Conqueror V2. And man, it's been so long, I can't even remember. I'm just going to toss the taste test. I actually recorded this one. It's been almost 21 days since the first time I ran this one. So I'm just going to toss the recording of the taste test grammage. We've already ran this one before. The grammage was pretty damn accurate. And I'll get into the effects on why I don't really care about the grammage anyway for this one. The taste was really good. It was creamsicle. I wouldn't say mind-blowing, but it definitely had a little bit of chemically aftertaste kick, which you'd expect in a product like this. But a nice little 9 out of 10, very, very solid for what they're claiming in here, the serious stems. And we saw Fornius's breakdown. I wanted to start off with Fornius because he just has such a cool way to like present his stuff. He's quick, he's to the point. He provides a catchy way to get it. So it's like, what better way to kick it off with the legendary Fornius, man, from parts unknown Fornius joining us for a review. And now let's get into my label breakdown and then effects. So the label breakdown is pretty short in this one. And I got this is V2 right here we're looking at, and I'll kind of tell you the difference between V1 after we get through it. But we got one scoop at 14.92. It's pretty damn accurate. It's within a gram if I remember right. Servings 20 servings, so we're dropping down the servings. Citrulline 8 grams, beta alanine 3.2, caffeine anhydrase 400, ariadrenesis 300, synephrine 75 milligrams, and herpesine A 20 milligrams. And I completely forgot to even mention the most important ingredient on here, the amp citrate, DMBA, at 300 milligrams. So now we're talking. The first one only had 200 amp citrate, and this one cranked it up to 300. This one also cranks up the caffeine to 400, and it cranks up the Araya to 300 as well versus 200 in the previous. The pump ingredients doubles with citrulline. It does remove the arginine, but it does crank up the beta alanine to 3.2. I did the math, and if you're like looking at so if you had V1 and you're trying to decide if you want V2, essentially like per container, since there's more servings in this one, essentially it has this. If you're just like looking straight at the amp citrate, the Araya, and the caffeine, I can't remember the caffeine, but I know the Araya and the amp citrate is literally the exact same quantity per container. If you're a bigger fan of citrulline, this is going to be a win for you because obviously you're going to get more citrulline per container with the percentage increase. But all the other ingredients, it seems to be kind of one for one. The serving size per grammage, it's just now this one becomes more competitive. This is how DMBA products were supposed to be. So this kind of now we're looking at ones like this, Doomsday Destruction at 300. So if you're just grabbing pre workouts off your shelf and comparing them, it kind of starts fighting these other DMBA products we had here. This one right here claimed it at 100. With this one also had 2-amino as well, but another DMBA hitter. Another one was Sharp ER, so it kind of starts creeping into this class, competing with some of those guys. And I like what they did, but if you have V1, just take more of it. I get you could take it at a scoop and a half, scoop and 3/4. But this one right here, now if it's in a sub shop, if you're comparing labels 1 to 1, now this thing is competitive. And when I say this is how DMB products are supposed to be used, is because this is one of the I believe it's one of the codifications, one of the books of Stim Junkie, Meaty Morsels. I think it was Code Section 34-3 states that a DMBA pre should wait 10 days, and on the 10th day, thou can take the DMBA pre again. Now, I don't know if everyone follows those exact rules, but I think it kind of varies based upon your stim tolerance and how you metabolize stems on the way you space them out. But either way, it should be spaced out like a good amount of days in between. Each run of this was 5 to 7 days between runs. Obviously, if you're going to have quite a bit more diminishing effects versus like running a 2-amino pre, one with possibly 1,3 in it, or anything like anything under those gray area ingredients. Running those back to back versus running a DMBA back to back, you're gonna get much more diminishing returns, and I've noticed that it just kind of varies person by person. But overall, this one, if you're gonna wait almost a week before taking a DMB pre, you better throw the damn kitchen sink at it. I want 400 caffeine. I want 300 DMBA. I want pumps galore. I want this thing to be a straight up celebration for that day in your rotation you get to run this thing again. Because obviously, if we're gonna get a DMBA pre and have a couple on our shelf, we better go all the fuck out when we do it. And so now they've done it. This one right here, it just didn't quite make sense, like what they were trying to do, because it looks like it's a daily design. But I mean, if anyone knows anything about DMBA, I mean, I'm not like some sort of stim expert, but I feel like it's mass majority agree that you grow a tolerance to it quicker. And I agree. I don't know about the 10-day rule, but I do agree it should be a good chunk of time based upon your tolerance. I definitely don't think we should be going, wait, I don't think it's a lot more than a day or two. I can't imagine anyone can feel that much effects from there. And you don't want to get to the point where you're just double scooping it to get there. But anyway, so this one just kind of like, it didn't make sense for what they were trying to get at. But if you have V1, you can just take more of it and still get here. And I'm sure a lot of people have already started to do that. Everyone I know that loves V1, that's what they do, and they're cool with it. Some people like to, when you're comparing it at sub shops, it makes more sense to go with this label. So for people that haven't jumped on Conqueror yet, don't worry, you're not getting ripped off. It's the same amount of product. They've just provided it to you. If not, it's more. If I think that if you do the pump breakdown and stuff like that, and the caffeine, some of the small players ends up being a slight bit more, but they provide it to you in a way that it's supposed to be taken, like for max effects and max stim junkie experience. And so for my experience, I took this thing 3 times, and let me grab something. This random stim junkie thought that popped in my head. This is what this pre reminds me of right here. Read this one to the kids the other night. And why, you'll get to why for this one. So this one right here, man, it is a builder for me, my experience. All 3 times I ran it, it started off very light, like the initial caffeine hit 10 to 15 minutes in, and then like every 10 minutes it kept getting better and better and better. And it kept building all the way up. Today I ran it for the 3rd time at a nice juicy heaping scoop, and that thing went all the way to like my last set. Like I couldn't leave. I didn't want to leave. It was nuts. Like it just kept, like, usually like it peaks and then you have a little bit of a downfall and then you're ready to go home and stuff like that. But not this one. Not with a nice juicy heaping scoop. This thing got better every 10 minutes, and I thought it peaked at 30 to 40 minutes, but then it kept like escalating, and it seemed to just have enough legs, but at the same time it kind of like dissipates nicely at the end. Within, I'm about 45 minutes out of the gym, still have a decent energy kick, but at the same time, like, I'm ready to like go back to normal life. I'm not going to be like tweaking out at dinner with the family. I'm not going to be on the walk with the kids this evening, like nauseous, stomach hurting, not stomach hurting, but like appetite suppressed, is feeling like that post stim junkie-esque fallout. It builds and builds and builds, and then comes down nicely, and that's why I said the little engine that could, man, it just keeps chugging up that hill. You keep thinking, like, you almost, for the first time I ran it, I was like, is this going to be enough? Like, I needed something that was like with a kick, and I started like questioning, like, maybe this wasn't the pre today. But then like the more I worked out, the more it kept like increasing, and all aspects of it, the euphoric ride, the tunnel vision, the focus, the energy, it just kept chugging up that hill. It just kept puff puff puff, chug chug chug. And this one, that's exactly the best analogy I could think of for it. It is happy as hell, it is smooth, it is euphoric. And like, if I was to rate like my best workouts I've had within the last like 30 days, this based off today at the heaping scoop, this one is probably the best outside of like the pre's I've taken that have the secret sauce in them, like the IR8, the Crack Purple, the Venom, the Ashes, the Crack OG. It's Crack OG just because of the insaneness of the Alpha Yo. It's going to wake anybody up. But just off like, smooth ride, but some, obviously we got the gray area stuff in here, but it's a smooth ride. This one has had to been one of the best like workout experiences. And I isolate the biceps and tris, man. I just hit triceps today, and this, like, that's usually one of the ones that's tough to get going, tough to bring your own juice. And this one got the job done and did much more than that. It just kept like locking in more and more, and I freaking love the way that Toxic Masculinity did this one. These guys nailed it. Had to wear the Pillager shirt. Obviously got the Toxic Masculinity behind. And anyway, freaking killed it on this one. Overall scores, euphoria. Got to give this thing a 10 out of 10. Raw energy, they nailed it. It's all green bars. I'm not going to do the red bar for this one, but on the raw energy, sense of urgency, I got to go ahead and give it like a 9 or 10, just because like it kept building, even though it didn't like slap you right away. It's still like, and the beta tingles were actually pretty good, especially if you take it at a nice rounded scoop. At least take at least a rounded scoop of this thing, and it's gonna like still like provide like a little bit of cheek tingles, even if you like are pretty desensitized by it from running so many pre-workouts. But 9 or 10 pumps were savage as hell. Always use the thumbnails for whatever product I'm running at the time. I try to use a thumbnail so you can, like, sometimes seeing is believing. I always remember TJ Fitness Steel's news showing the vascularity of a Rain pre-workout when he ran that one back in the day. I was like, that's sweet. It's like sometimes like you want to hear about the pumps. I want to see the pumps sometime. And anyway, so the pumps were pretty damn good. I'll give it like a 9 out of 10 as well in that flavor, 9 out of 10. But the star of the show is the good vibe happiness with the nice, not over the top, not out of body, like tunnel vision focus. You definitely are in a bubble for sure. But it's like, it's a happiness bubble. And it's one that like you don't feel anything like, you never felt to the point where you're like, this thing better stop peaking because I don't know if I can handle any more of this. Like it was a controlled happiness and a controlled increase of euphoria. There's never a point when you're like, this better just kind of dissipate right now because I can't handle it anymore. Like there's always a point it kept going up and up. You're always like, man, I don't know, man. This could, let's just see where this thing takes us because this keeps going, and you feel very optimistic about your workout, and it just all around a plus product right here by Toxic Masculinity. They killed it. They go wrong with their Pillager, savage, aggressive pre-workout. Love these guys. Check them out. GymDad code on their website, I believe. I'll put the link down below. And then also, I believe that SupLocker carries their products as well. I have to check on the Conqueror one, but I know a bit. Anyway, you can SupLocker, Toxic Masculinity website. A lot of places are starting to carry these guys, so keep an eye out for them. But like, subscribe, and catch me on the next review. That wraps it up for the Conqueror V2 review. I want to give a special thanks to Fornius again for jumping on for another guest review. And one other thing I forgot to mention in this one when I was doing my edits and making my video adjustments is I'm running kind of a sinus infection right now. You can kind of hear the nasaliness in my voice. And one of the things that's kind of cool about having a sinus infection is that some of these DMBAs, 2-aminos, 1,3 products that claim it, I've always noticed. I think if I remember right, I'm not a history expert on the 1,3 2-amino DMBA path of what it was used for, but I do recall there being a lot of usages in the early times for like cough medicines and congestion medicine and things like that. And I've always noticed when I have a really good source that if I take it during like a tail end of a sinus infection or like when I've got one going on, but I can still train through it, that you get a little bit of clearing of that congestion. And it's another way to tell if it's got the goods or not. And this thing had me breathing like I was, this freshly, nasal free, nothing, no issues whatsoever. And then as it went away, I kind of went back to reality, to the sinus infection, congestion pathways. But like during my workout, it was so damn clear. So one other little side note on this one. But then again, thanks for joining on the review, and also thank you, Fornius, once again, man, from the legendary Fornius from parts unknown. Still don't know. We all are just. I think he's a gift sent from the Stim Junkie gods to bless us with his breakdowns. But check us on the next review, and there'll be more guest reviews to come.